In 1969, $1 could load up your shopping bag, pay for a movie ticket, and still leave a few coins for the ride home. Today, that same dollar barely makes a dent in your morning coffee. So how did our money lose more than 95% of its buying power? And what does that really mean for everyday Australians? Picture a small corner store in 1969. One crisp dollar note goes a long way. A fresh loaf of bread costs 11 cents. A liter of milk, 13 cents. 2 hot meat pies for lunch, 20 cents. A kilo of potatoes, 12 cents. The daily paper, 8 cents. A one-way bus fare, 15 cents. Altogether, that comes to just 79 cents. You still have over 20 cents left in your pocket. For most families, this wasn't a rare treat. It was the regular weekly shop. Basic groceries didn't swallow an entire paycheck. Prices were stable, predictable. Every coin had real weight. Back then, $1 genuinely filled a basket, and the leftover change wasn't just spare coins. It was real purchasing power, and that dollar didn't stop at groceries. After the essentials were sorted, it could still buy a little enjoyment. A Saturday night at the cinema cost around $1 for an adult ticket. Fish and chips wrapped in butcher's paper? About the same. Hand over a single note, and dinner was done. That if you felt like a drive, $1 bought roughly 6 liters of petrol. The numbers on the Bowser moved slowly, and even small outings felt affordable. A packet of cigarettes and a cold soft drink together came in under $1, with change to spare. That one note didn't just cover needs. It opened the door to simple pleasures, the kind that turned an ordinary week into something special. Now step into a supermarket today. That same basket, bread, milk, 2 meat pies, potatoes, a newspaper, and a bus fare, adds up to around $18. Bread sits near $3.50. Milk around $1.60 a liter. 2 pies about $8. Potatoes close to $4 a kilo. A newspaper roughly $3.50. A bus ride about $4.50. According to data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and confirmed by the inflation calculator from the Reserve Bank of Australia, what cost $1 in 1969 now costs roughly $18. The Consumer Price Index shows prices rising about 15 times over. The dollar itself didn't vanish. Its buying power slowly eroded. What once filled a basket now barely buys a single item. Housing tells an even sharper story. In 1969, Sydney's median house price was about $18,500. The average yearly wage was close to $3,000. A home cost around 6 times annual income. With steady work, owning a house felt achievable. One income could manage the mortgage, support a family, and still allow savings. Today, Sydney's median house price sits above $1 million. The average wage is roughly $95,000. That's more than 10 times annual income, nearly double the stretch faced by the previous generation. The dollar hasn't disappeared. But compared to 1969, it's a shadow of its former strength. The dream of owning a home hasn't vanished, but the maths behind it has transformed beyond recognition. What once felt like a natural milestone for working families now feels distant, even unrealistic, as the strength of the dollar drifts further from the day-to-day reality Australians face. Rent tells the story just as clearly. In 1969, a modest flat in the city might cost between $12 and $15 a week. That was less than 20% of the average wage. After rent was paid, there was still breathing room, enough for groceries, electricity, school expenses, and maybe a small family outing on the weekend. Housing was a cost, but it wasn't a burden that dominated every financial decision. Fast forward to today, and the contrast is striking. A similar rental property now commands anywhere from $400 to $600 per week, depending on the suburb. For many Australians, that absorbs close to half their income. Instead of being one line in the budget, rent has become the headline. The first calculation each payday isn't what you can save, it's what must be covered. For modern renters, the distance between income and expenses continues to widen. Wages have risen on paper, but essential costs have risen faster. The dollar itself hasn't physically shrunk. It still looks the same. But in practical terms, in supermarket aisles, at fuel pumps, in rental listings, It feels smaller than ever. And this didn't happen overnight. Three major economic shifts quietly reshaped the dollar's strength. In 1971, Australia moved away from the gold standard, severing the final tie between currency and a physical commodity. Money was no longer anchored to gold reserves. It became fully fiat, backed by government authority rather than tangible value. That change gave policymakers more flexibility, but it also removed a natural restraint on monetary expansion. Just 2 years later, the 1973 oil crisis sent shockwaves across the global economy. Oil prices surged, transport costs climbed, manufacturing became more expensive, and inflation accelerated worldwide. Every imported good became costlier. Every supply chain tightened. Australians felt it at the petrol station first, but soon it reached grocery shelves and household bills. Then came the sweeping financial deregulation of the 1980s. Markets opened. Credit became easier to access. Capital flowed more freely. Economic growth accelerated, but so did asset prices. Housing, in particular, began rising faster than incomes. Borrowing capacity increased, competition intensified, and property shifted from shelter to investment vehicle. Individually, each event seemed manageable. Together, they fundamentally altered the purchasing power of the Australian dollar. According to long-term data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics and inflation tracking by the Reserve Bank of Australia, more than 95% of the dollar's buying power since 1969 has eroded. What $1 could command then now requires close to 20, but statistics alone don't capture the emotional shift. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, financial planning often focused on stability, saving for a home deposit, paying down a manageable mortgage, building modest security. Today, conversations are different. They revolve around interest rate rises, rental bidding wars, cost of living pressures, and whether a single income can sustain a household at all. The structure of family finances has changed. Dual incomes are often necessary not for luxury, but for survival. Savings rates fluctuate with each economic tremor. Younger Australians delay milestones, buying property, starting families, long-term investments, not from lack of ambition, but from tighter margins. Even everyday choices reflect this shift. Groceries are compared more carefully. Subscriptions are reviewed. Discretionary spending shrinks. The psychological weight of money feels heavier because its reach is shorter, and yet, the dollar itself hasn't disappeared. It hasn't been replaced. It simply buys less. Inflation doesn't shout, it compounds quietly. Year after year, small increases layer on top of each other until the difference becomes dramatic. What feels manageable in one decade becomes overwhelming in the next. Today, the value of money influences nearly every decision Australians make, from where they live to how they commute, what they eat, and how they plan for the future. As purchasing power continues to slip, the deeper question isn't just about prices. It's about expectations, opportunity, and economic resilience. How much further can the gap stretch between income and affordability? How much more will we allow a dollar to lose before meaningful change is demanded? Share your thoughts below. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're on a journey to uncover how money, history, and everyday life have changed over the decades, and what it means for you.